I'm a depressed Steelers fan, and I'm going to tell you why. The Rooneys are lazy and cheap and pathetic, and they need to sell the team. When Mike Tomlin stepped down, I had 10 minutes of pain, followed by 10 days of bliss, 10 days of hope. I was feeling like Rue from Euphoria at the peak of her powers. And then I go into Publix supermarket. I'm shopping for groceries, and I get a text. I didn't even get the Schefter noti. I didn't get a Pelissero noti. I get a text from my boy. You're not going to believe this. No way. I'm getting tagged in group chats. And then I get the fateful news. We went from Mike to Mike. I take a Tim Tebow knee in Publix in front of the free sample, the free sample, whatever he was giving out. I don't know. He asked me if I was okay. He was checking on me. I said, I'm good. I turned my phone around. I said, the Steelers hired Mike McCarthy as head coach. He was like, oh, okay. He walks away. This is not funny. All I'm saying is, it shouldn't have happened how it did. It shouldn't have happened at all. The Rooneys didn't take any time to interview Chris Shula in person, Nate Scheelhaus in person, Clint Kubiak in person, anybody in person except for Anthony Weaver and Brian Flores, and of course Mike McCarthy. They fulfilled the Rooney Rule made by his father to get 2 minority candidates, and then immediately went with the cheapest, easiest option of Mike McCarthy. But the thing is, they don't respect us fans enough to even make us think they did their due diligence. They didn't bring Shula in to make us think he had a chance of being higher. They went and did what they were going to do all along and took the easy way out so they can try to win 9, maybe 10 games, sneak into the playoffs, and get BTA. Nothing changes because nothing's changing. This team has been directionless since Big Ben retired. And don't get me started on Big Ben. When we drafted Mason Rudolph, he hated it. He hated Mason Rudolph. He didn't want to coach him up. He didn't want to be a mentor to him at all. Big Ben retires, and Mason Rudolph is horrible. We can talk about that later. When we draft Kenny Pickett, Big Ben gets on his podcast and says, I was honestly rooting for him to fail. He's not even a part of the team. What are you talking about, man? What are we doing here? And Twitter. I know a lot of times on Twitter, you're talking to bots. But I think these are real people saying the Steelers need to tank. And even sports pundits, the Steelers need to tank and find their quarterback. The hit rate on first-round quarterbacks is less than 50%. This isn't the NBA where LeBron can come save your franchise, your poverty franchise, or Cooper Flagg's going to come save the day. A quarterback can't save you. A quarterback doesn't just fix everything. This roster is good enough to compete, and the coaching has let us down time and time again. I mean, I'm less upset about the McCarthy hire in a vacuum. He's brought in some good hires. He's doing some good things, and he's expanding the coaching staff. We now have a pass game coordinator that is going to be interviewed. We have a defensive pass game coordinator. We didn't have that in the past. But let me tell you about my pain. 2017, Blake Bortles, we're the 2 seed, by the way. Blake Bortles comes into our house and gives us belt. The score might look like it was a 3-point game. We scored a last-second touchdown. Blake Bortles hung 42 points in our house. But Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach, right? 2020, Jacob behind the cam can tell you all about it.
Cinema.
COVID year. We're 12-0. Baker Mayfield comes and puts belt to behind. What is even going on? 2021, TJ Watt, strip sack on Mahomes. We're up 7-0 in a game we were not supposed to win. For about 5 minutes there, I thought we were going all the way. And then we learned our lesson, 42-21. 2023, we have Mason Rudolph starting against Josh Allen in a playoff game. And we had a chance for a second. But of course, we lost that game. 2024, Russell Wilson's my starting quarterback. Need I say much more? 2025, Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV puts on an all-time stinker. The stinker of a lifetime. Has no business winning that game. Doesn't even want to win that game. He had travel plans the next week. He didn't want to play again. And we still lose after forcing 4 turnovers. And what do we score, 6 to their 30? This team has squeaked into the playoffs, and no losing seasons, as impressive as that may be, has never been competitive against a good team, game planning around them. But back to Mike McCarthy. Patrick Graham's a great hire. The Raiders' defense it's been Max Crosby and the power of friendship. I bet you guys can't name 5 players on the Raiders' defense currently. But I say that to say things are trending in the right direction. This is the best defensive coordinator we've had in 10 years. Unironically, like no hyperbole. Scott Tolzien is more than likely our OC. QB coach for the Saints, we saw what Tyler Shuck was doing. And the good news is, I guess I'll call it good news, Mike McCarthy does call plays, so this automatically is the best play caller we've had in the past 10 years as well. So as bad as things may seem on the surface, and we will be bad next year, we probably win 6 games, but it is what it is. McCarthy's looking to modernize our approach. He's bringing in new coaching positions that never existed on the Steelers. He's bringing in young and hungry coaches that I think things can turn around in the future. But as for what I've had to endure as a fan every Sunday, buying the shirts, buying the jerseys, turning on these games, and maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem.
Yes.
Because every week, every year, when we go on, there's 2 scripts to every year. We start hot, and then we collapse horribly, or we start slow, and then we heat up at the end and barely squeak in. This past year, we started off hot. The year before then, we started off super hot. If only you heard the things I was saying. I said we're going to the Super Bowl. I said we had the best defense in the league. And then I learned a valuable lesson. With a 42-year-old quarterback, with no mobility whatsoever, afraid to take a hit. Tom Brady, when he was 45, at least he would stand in the pocket and deliver it once in a while. Aaron Rodgers looks like me out there, the way he's just so skittish, but that's neither here nor there. This roster has been built lazily. The coaching staff has been built lazily. There's been no effort put into creating a sort of culture or developing young talent in such a way that can give you sustained success. The goal is always put a Band-Aid on it. Bring in a veteran. Sign a vet min. Bring in a guy who got cut. Retain Terrell Austin. We got to be good to our guys. You can't lose your job to injury. It's been lazy. It's been, feelings first. This has not been about football. And that's part of why people like Mike Tomlin. He was a nice dude. He cared about people. He's probably a great boss, great manager to have. If you're working at Kroger, this is the National Football League. The friendships he's fostering are not leading to any sort of success. He should have been fired after 2017 when Blake Bortles put 42 on your head. As impressive as the Duck Hodges years were, or the Mason Rudolph years, I've had enough, and I'm glad there's some sort of change. That's all I got.
Wow, that was a monologue. I know the Oscars are around the corner, so we might have to shoe in this guy right here because that was entertaining to say the least. That was all that you ripped off. All right, well, I'll feed you a question before I get into my next one, just to relay some information. Do you feel like with the Mike, I'll call him Mike M and not Mike T, with the Mike M hire, do you feel like it's more or less the same in the sense of what is to come? Like, do you think Rooney can keep him around for at least a couple years, or do you think this is like an experiment? Like, if it goes south really fast, he's out the building. And what do you want, I guess, in the immediate future of this?
You're asking good questions, man. This is my first time having a new head coach. I'm 23 since I was 4 years old. I don't know. I don't think he's going to have a short leash. This is the best coaching staff we've had in the last 10 years, like top to bottom already. So, I mean, the way I see it, he probably plays his contract out as long as he wants unless we're winning 4 games each season. I think this year he'll have the grace of the Rooneys, considering Will Howard might be our week 1 starter or a 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers. But beyond that, I think I don't see him getting canned before he wants to leave.
Would you have been happier if it felt like there was an illusion of free will and they did their due diligence and waited for candidates and stuff like that?
That's all I ever wanted. I mean, at least I could have been like, okay, I'll trust their judgment if they deduce that McCarthy was the hire. They didn't even give me that. They didn't even wait for Shula to leave the playoffs. They didn't wait for Shieldhouse to leave the playoffs. They didn't wait for Kubiak to leave the playoffs. They just immediately, and that's what frustrates me the most. Who was hiring Mike McCarthy? Who was going after him? There was no need to rush. There was no need for urgency there. The man's been on his couch. He needed us more than we needed him, in my opinion, and we didn't act like it. We didn't act like it at all.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from the hiring was it always gets shoddy with all the reporting that comes out, especially since insider reports aren't really on the inside nowadays. so you can't really know what is 100% true, what's 80% true. But I do think the story of Mike Tomlin stepping down on his own accord is the truth of the matter. I think the Steelers organization was surprised, like thoroughly surprised.
Yeah,
when he
this
stepped
confirms
down.
it.
And the front office and the ownership believe that this team is ready to compete right now, and they love the familiarity and the culture behind what they have. And I think they thought Mike McCarthy fit that, being a former resident of Pittsburgh, hometown. He kind of, I guess, embodies what they believe in terms of connection. And this proves that as a hire, they didn't want to go innovative. They didn't want to go young. They didn't want to go fresh. They wanted to dive right in right now. And this hire screams that. And fortunately for me, I love that. But in terms of the schematics and the scheme and the reality of it is, you went lateral with this hire. He's the inverse. I think he's the inverse of Mike T. And I disagree. I'm not saying he's going to get the same production. I'm not saying he's going to get the same results. But I'm saying in terms of identity and what you could have done in terms of the fit, again, like you said, the staff is better. I'll agree with that. He's gotten a lot more hires. He calls his own plays. But I think the reality of it is, in terms of what it could have been, I feel like what could have been, you didn't do that in terms of the interview process, seeing out everything that you could have. And to raise the floor, we like to say, or raise the ceiling, it feels more or less of the same in that sense.
Well, I want to start off by saying if the Rooneys genuinely thought that this team had a chance to compete for the last 10 years, then the team should have been sold yesterday. I don't know what's going on. But, I mean, regardless, this is the best coaching staff we've had in the past 10 years.
I agree, yeah.
By far. Like, bar none, by an extremely wide margin. I mean, you couldn't really go anywhere but up. Considering, that's how I feel like you don't know my pain. I had Matt Canada calling plays for like 2.5 years, like for real. Like, I was watching that. I had Arthur Smith making us lead the league in 13 personnel. Like, yeah. I watched that. I watched us draft Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round, and we're lining up Jonnu Smith in the backfield. Jonnu Smith has some dirt on Arthur Smith. I don't know what happened.
No, he has dirt on like every OC. He had Mike McDonald in the chokehold for what God knows what reason. But
Jonnu Smith had more carries this year than Caleb Johnson. Like, genuinely. How? Why? Jonnu Smith needs to be off my team. I'm not even trolling. He needs to get out of my country. Okay, I'm sorry. But I'm glad Arthur Smith is gone. Hopefully Ohio State, hopefully Jeremiah Smith doesn't suffer as a result. All I'm saying is, for the position we're in, Mike McCarthy is quarterback friendly. Scott Tolzien, hopefully we get him as an OC. He can help a quarterback grow. Mike McCarthy is making young coordinator hires, young hires at pretty much every position on the coaching staff. And unlike Mike Tomlin, this man can actually build a tree. We can promote from within. There's reason to believe that there's going to be success down the road, given this new regime. There was nothing to believe in the past. So I'm going to go into the season knowing for the first time in a long time, we probably won't hit that 9-win mark. And maybe it's for the best, maybe it's not. But I'm going to know at least we will have a guy or a group of guys who are willing to try something new. And that's all I've wanted for a decade. That's all I've wanted.
I mean, that's fair.
I don't want to luck into the playoffs and maybe get a win. I want to be a competitive, real threat. And I don't know what that feels like. You know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And then you know what it feels like to lose every year.
Like 31 other teams, yes. Yes, I'm well aware. But I appreciate that cold open from Myles. I was really, really enjoying. But we can. Are you ready to move on?
All right, man.
Yeah, I think he's ready. We can move on to the Ravens. We pushed this episode as far back as we possibly can, just because of scheduling issues. But I'm thoroughly enjoyed that we did that, because it'll help us later in the episode as well. But moving on to the Ravens, Mentor's been here for a little bit over a week now. Are you getting breaking news?
I don't know if we might have to cut this. What is it?
Is it bad?
It's about the Sixers owner and
so
files.
There will be downfalls of white billionaires who own teams, apparently, because a lot of owners are now getting connected.
Redacted.
But that's a separate thing.
That's a cut.
That's a separate thing.
They probably mute any video with that word in it.
I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. Anyways, back to the point. Mentor's been here for a little bit over a week now. I'm ecstatic. I've been in blissful wonderland. I haven't been in much pain as him. I've been ecstatic.
In your life. You don't know what it's like. Kenny Pickett, man. Did I even talk about Kenny Pickett?
You didn't. You can go. We got all day.
Jesus Christ. Who pulled the trigger on that decision? I have bigger hands than him. I don't know what we saw in college. That fake slide genuinely ruined my life. That fake slide set me back 5 years. Malik Willis was right there. Tomlin said he loved Malik Willis. He smokescreened everyone to draft Kenneth Pickett. Kenny Pickett is, this might be hyperbole, I think he's the worst first-round draft pick of the last 5 years.
Like out of all the not just QB.
I don't care what position. I don't care.
5 years, that goes back to what, 2021?
I don't care. I haven't seen a worse starting quarterback.
Josh Rosen?
Nah, that was 2018.
That was more.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
I haven't seen a worse starting quarterback in my days. And mind you, which is, I guess, do you give credit to Tomlin that we won 9 games with that human behind the... I don't know, man. Back to you. I've watched Kenny Pickett every day for like 3 years.
Wait, is Zach Wilson worse?
No. No.
It's debatable.
No.
Probably not, though.
Kenny Pickett, his max throw distance is like 15 yards, bro. He had a noodle arm. He was not that fast for his size. He couldn't read a defense. And Arthur Smith and Matt Canada did him Matt Canada did him no favors, I will say that. But my goodness, that brother was trash.
But the 2 gloves, though. Anyways, I've been in blissful wonderland. When Mentor got hired, I was ecstatic, and I felt like in the moment it was a good hire for sure. But I felt like there was more meat left on the bone. But he's bought me in completely. And the questions leading into him being hired was, yes, he's going to be calling plays. Yes, he's handling defense. But what's the offense going to look like? What's the staff going to look like? He's never built the staff in his life. He's only called plays at every level, but he's only been in charge of the defense and the defense alone. He hasn't been in charge of game management, building a staff, laying out not only just a game plan, but a system around the team itself. So there was a lot of questions going into it. But unlike, I guess, the Steelers, the Ravens did a thorough research process on their candidates. They went through 20 different candidates, and I think 16 of them were in the first round. They got so many different ideologies, so many different concepts, so many different ideas of who they thought they wanted to bring in. And it seems like as soon as Mentor did his interview, they knew he was the guy. But I thoroughly enjoyed the process of looking for a new head coach. I don't want to have to go through it as a fan, go through it again as a fan. But it was fun to see what we could have had and what we have now. And it just like the way he speaks about what his defense means to him and what he thinks winning football looks like. It's complimentary. It's efficient. There's communication. There's cohesion. He used the word cohesiveness and being collective together a lot in his presser this past Thursday. And I think it makes perfect sense. You got to be on the same page at all times. And you got to understand when you're looking at football, not only seeing what's about to happen, but why it's about to happen. And like anything that can happen based off what you're about to see. It's not just seeing like a front or seeing like a personnel and being like, this play's about to happen. It's seeing this personnel on this down and knowing why is this going to happen or what are they thinking they're going to do and why it's going to happen. And that's why his defenses have been great defenses at every level, regardless of where he's at. So I think he really
a little
understands.
bit of cheating at the last level, though.
No,
might have helped.
No, if you're
A
going to
little bit of sign stealing.
If you're going to put it on tape, that's all I'm going to say. They weren't going and recording like Bill Belichick. Maybe that's why he didn't hit the Hall of Fame. But that's neither here nor there. But regardless, I love it. We can get into some of his hires. I love his hires. I'm not even going to get into the OC yet.
Yeah, because he never called plays before.
I mean, that's fine to me. But in terms of like what he's looking to bring in terms of innovation and the merit of what he's bringing in guys. He got Dwayne Ledford. He's the O-line coach from the Falcons previously, and he was the run game coordinator. As well, and he's brought in, top 10 rushing offenses, Bijan Robinson. Their O-line's been pretty impressive. So him being as our new offensive O-line coach, thank God George Warhorpe is gone. Sorry, Jacob, I don't know if you knew, but he's now your O-line coach. He is a terrorist. We don't have to get into it, but either way, we got our DB coach, which is Mike Mickens. He's worked with a lot of pro-level DBs over in Notre Dame. Their secondary unit has been really solid. Oh, and we kind of retained some of our cream of the crop guys from the old staff too. And I think the concern with Mentor was that he was just going to be, a Harbaugh replacement, and he was just going to hire from the Harbaugh tree, and he was just going to call plays. But he's really shown that he's not doing that. He's doing this his way. He's doing it the right way. He's doing it with intelligence. He's doing it with conductive research. He's doing it with thorough investigation, and he's doing this with his not only his mind but his heart. And I love that. Bringing guys like Tyler Santucci, who I like, he was our linebackers coach. Bringing guys like Randy Johnson, who's our special teamers coach, and he's been, there for the better half of a decade. I'm excited, man. It feels like the almost renewed. I feel refreshed getting guys coming in from different ideologies and that have sustained success wherever they've been. And then we can obviously get into our OC. I'm just happy that it's not Cliff, man. And getting a Ben Johnson disciple, getting a Sean Payne disciple, it feels like it fits our identity in terms of being able to run the ball efficiently and having that being marriage with the play action game, having a tight end centric offense. It feels like a home run hit in terms of OC hires. Obviously, there is as Myles keeps loving to bring up, the lack of experience calling plays. But, being under Ben Johnson, he was working the hours, he was making the game plans. He would make his own play call sheet, like just to be that thorough of readiness behind him. So it's not like he doesn't have any experience. It's just in terms of the actual exposure to calling the plays on Sundays,
which is what he'll be doing.
Is what he'll be doing now. But I trust him, and I think going the whole opposite route of Todd Monken was. I love Todd Monken, but you get a new, fresh, young face. This guy is the same age as Lamar Jackson. And I think that's pretty interesting to see that they can now build. It feels like what's going to be a partnership among this, that they'll be learning with each other. They'll be experiencing the growing pains of building this offense and what it can be. And I think Mentor had said in his presser on Thursday, when they were looking for their OC at the time, that they wanted to bring in a guy who they felt like is a connector, that's an innovator, but that can make the structure plays really good and then allow Lamar Jackson to be out of structure and let the instincts take over. And I feel like when we think about the Bears offense, right, this past year with Caleb Williams, I felt like the structure plays were there for the most part. And sometimes, with the inaccuracy of Caleb Williams, that the clean pockets and the overthrows kind of like hindered them. But for the most part, they ran the ball really well. And when Caleb Williams was able to take over with his instincts and his feet and improvise, we saw some of the greatest plays that we've seen in playoff run in a long time. So I feel like this is the perfect envisioning of what it can be. And I'm just excited, man. I can't wait to see who our DC will be. We just saw before we pressed the record button that Jim Leonard is officially now the DC for the Bills. So that's a candidate that's off the board for the Ravens. I would have been excited for him to be our DC, but nevertheless, Mentor's calling the plays at the end of the day. So that's just more of an arbiter of making the game plan stuff. But regardless, a couple weeks into not even to the new season yet officially, and I'm living in Wonderland, man. I can't be more excited. I have hope. And maybe it's blind hope. Maybe I get burned.
I hope.
There's never been a first-year head coach to win the Super Bowl. The odds of that happening this year for the Ravens, history shows that it won't happen. But I'm excited, to say the least. If I can get success in the next 2 or 3 years, I can die a happy man. I'm telling you. And I think Mentor is the one.
Well, what do you define success as?
Because
at what point is a Super Bowl or bust?
I mean, I guess every team is always Super Bowl bust, but I feel
no, they are not.
In reality, they are.
The Tennessee Titans are not Super Bowl bust next year.
In terms of like what they are and like the expectation of them, but like the teams are trying to win a Super Bowl.
Sure, but the standards are different, and you don't go into the locker room preaching Super Bowl to Cam Ward year 2, but to Lamar year 9.
Yeah,
things are different. Like,
that's
at
fair,
what point does he need to do something? Does the team have to accomplish something?
I think it's a team thing. It's a team, so it's not just a Lamar.
When does the team need to win a ring?
I mean, it doesn't need. There's not a timestamp on it, but I feel like as a fan, me personally, what I am excited to see is not the implosion on themselves when it matters most. Jesse Mentor said we're going to be our best when it calls to need our best, and that means January football. That means February football. Yeah, and I'm excited for that.
It's a good thing to say. It's easy to say.
It is, but I think the difference with one having a lot of X's and O's guys on our staff now versus just a guy who stands there with not a play call sheet and opens his mouth like this.
That's what I'm happy to have too, man.
And the CEO guys out the building. It's like now we have. I felt like the epitome of Ravens football when it mattered most is that we were always out schematic. Like we never had a schematic advantage over certain teams.
Tell me about it, man.
And the in-game adjustments, Harbaugh sucked at in-game adjustments. I'm sorry, but he was just god awful at going into that. I don't know what he was saying at halftime. It was like he was on a whiteboard and like, all right, guys, we're up 2 scores.
Go hard on them boys.
Hey,
Salute.
Salute to y'all hooping. That was it.
Do you think you still fire Harbaugh if you would have won that Week 18 game?
Oh, Bashai said he had one more week. Like he literally said like he was gonna be gone. Like unless he had delivered a Super Bowl to Baltimore, he was gonna be gone, whether it's AFC Championship or not.
Wow.
And the fate was written in the stars for him, unfortunately. But
well, I guess you can appreciate having an owner that has a semblance of a backbone and will make a decision.
Bashadi is literally like the golf. He is shown like Italian mob. He doesn't care. And I love it about him. And we're talking about it later in terms of ownership and whatnot. But regardless, I feel like Mentor gives us the advantage of not only the situational leverage play calling, but a chance to, even if the game is not going, like it's not going to be dominant football through 18 weeks or through 21 games, however many it takes to get to the Super Bowl. That's just unlikely to happen. But to have a guy and to have a team and a staff built around the complexity of what football actually is, and to when it matters most, to be able to use your leverage, and the ball might not roll your way, but to at least have a chance, that's what I'm excited for. That's what I think success looks like. And for not every loss to look the exact same of being up 2 scores and then fumbling the game away, or your defense needs to stop on 3rd and 10 and you're due slipping because you're playing soft coverage for the whole drive of the length of the field.
Because Calvin Austin hit him with a...
Shut it. Oh! Regardless, I'm excited for this new Ravens football. That's all I got to say about Mentor. But if we're ready to move on, we got kind of what, even though Jim Leonard, I guess, is the newest hire for Candace, kind of what, with the coaching spots starting to thin out, we got a lot of head coaching hires over the past couple of days.
Yeah, I got the list up.
Yeah. So what the coaching spots thinning out, what the impact of the candidates and the effect on the remaining assistants and coordinators look like. You said you got the list also.
I guess we could start with the Falcons. Going from Raheem Morris to Stefanski, it just never seemed like Raheem Morris had a great, hold on the locker room. It didn't seem like the team was super bought in, and obviously, I don't know who their OC was, but clearly, Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Well, Drake London was hooping, but clearly they weren't being utilized properly. And I guess now you have the question Kirk or Penix, and
there was reports saying that Kirk most likely is getting cut.
Cut?
Yeah, that's what the reports are saying.
Wow.
When the new
oh
season
my
starts.
God, he's a Steeler. Oh no.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy.
Oh,
I do want to hint.
Please be fake news.
No. I do want to hint. I've been kind of money since we started this podcast. At the end of the last episode, I said Mike McCarthy was probably entering the building.
You were trolling.
I side-eyed you like this. We can pull up the film. Anyways, regardless, I don't know. Kirk being a Steeler would be kind of funny.
I'd rather have Kirk than A-Rod, honestly. Like unironically, like
I don't. Yeah.
I mean, it's
a man.
But I think Stefanski's a great hire for the Falcons. I think the offense immediately will become more dynamic, and I guess you're rocking with Penix. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. How sure are we that Kirk's getting cut? He was hooping.
It was just murmurs. It's nothing for sure. It's nothing solidified. It was just a few inside reporters saying that he's one of the higher likely cut candidates going into 2026. But nothing's written for sure. They might have a QB battle for all we know going into camp next year.
I mean, I think Stefanski's definitely an A hire for them.
Yeah, I had him at a B plus. I felt like it felt like for a long time that the defensive mindedness of the Falcons kind of let loose of what their offense could have been in terms of potential. I think Stefanski can definitely bring that out in the Falcons. And I feel like I keep saying that division is up for grabs for anybody at any given time.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like Stefanski is easily the best coaching candidate in that division. Now you got Dave Canales, you got Todd Bowles, who's on his way out. I think Dave
Canales clears, but I mean they're both they're both super solid.
Yeah.
Has he hired his coordinators yet, Stefanski? We're still waiting on that.
I think we're still waiting on that. It might not be like certain, but that kind of ties into the point of like, especially now with like the Steelers hiring their head coach, the Bills hiring Joe Brady, right? It seems like guys like the guys who are still in the playoffs, essentially. It feels like Kubiak's the only like certain, I guess, guy who is the most like coveted head coach.
There's only 2 openings left.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of guys, like Mike McDaniel was like a hot name for a while, but he ended up just going for an OC job with that.
He had coordinator written all over him. It just made so much sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. But regardless, it feels like guys like Shula now. I think they already said that they're going back to the Rams. Shieldhouse said I think they're going back to Rams, and I feel like I just feel like there's a lot of McVay guys and Shanahan guys that are still left to pick from, especially now that we're seeing a lot of pass game coordinators, a lot of defensive pass game coordinators, run game coordinators are starting to get more of these coordinator
And
positions.
it's funny because the Steelers don't have any of those. We don't have a pass game coordinator. We don't, or didn't have a run game coordinator. We didn't have a defensive passing game coordinator for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin and the power of friendship with whatever garbage coordinators he would hire offensively and defensively, and that was it. Very bare bones staff.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because we see a lot of these younger names. We saw like a Udinsky a lot of times. We saw a Davis Webb who's still out
Yeah,
there.
he came back. I forgot.
Yeah, like QB coach style, pass game coordinator style. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of those fill-ins become a thing. I think what else? I did say that the Giants are kind of behind the 8 ball now. We'll speak on to the hire, but Todd Monken was
They got
like
a lot more going on now.
Todd Monken was like your shoe-in for like to be the guy as your OC when you're bringing in Harbaugh, and now that's gone. He's obviously the head coach of the Browns, but now it's like you turn to Harbaugh and it's like what do you expect from him? Who do you bring in now? His only other connection is dare I say it, Greg Roman as the OC. So Giants fans, get ready for if it ends up being Greg Roman. But even like their DC, and I love John Harbaugh, I do. But the fact that you are admitting that Zachary Orr is not a DC that's capable of leading the team by not even interviewing him as a
I
Giants.
thought they did.
I think they just interviewed him, but he wasn't the first option. It was like Anthony
I would hope
Leader.
not.
It was Denard, the old DC for times. But the fact that you weren't willing to even bring him with you like you were willing to bring Todd Monken goes to show that there is some incompetency in Baltimore before this, and I'm thoroughly upset with that man. But we're moved on past him. But I guess we can start getting into the rest of the hires.
Yeah, we already talked about the Ravens and Jesse Minter. Congratulations.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills promoting Joe Brady, I thought was interesting. I mean, obviously, it seemed like it was pretty much between Dable and Brady. I don't know, man. I guess you make the right decision, but it just feels like a kind of lateral move to me. I guess you're just going to see even more bubble screens to Shakir on 3rd and long. But I don't know. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm definitely not super stoked that that's what we did.
Yeah, I gave the grade. I gave it a C+, and I said it wasn't a knock on Brady. I genuinely do like him, and I think the detachment from McDermott wasn't holding him back by any means. But now that he has true control of what the roster can look like, it might look different. He might be able to elevate players. He said in his presser, Keon Coleman better be glad I picked him because he'll look completely different. I don't know how much I buy into that.
Like, he was calling the plays anyways.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think letting McDermott go just to have your OC take his position and now having to hire a DC. Again, it's McDermott's defense, I guess, did fall short in the grand scheme of things when it did matter for more times than not. I just feel like, again, it's one of those lateral moves that I don't know how much this heightens your chances of taking it to the ball. And this is all speculation for all these coaches. We don't know what they're going to do.
And I guess when
with
you're
these teams.
as close to success as the Bills, maybe all you need is a lateral move to shake some things
and
up.
a new perspective. So I gave it a C+. And again, it's not my knock on Joe Brady. I would have accepted him as our OC as a Ravens fan. But, now he has his own control. He has his own team. So it might look different. But
Yeah, I got it as a C.
yeah, I had a C+.
Then I guess next we got the Cleveland Browns with Todd Monken.
Shout out Todd.
Feel free to chime in, Jacob. I think it kind of makes you wonder why you really fired Stefanski when it seemed like at the start of the cycle they were thinking McDonald and they were thinking a little bigger picture, and then you end up with Monken, who's not a bad coach by any means, and apparently he wanted Shadura at Georgia, but I mean, who didn't? He was a highly recruited guy, but I don't know. I guess how do you feel, Jacob, about Todd Monken?
Speak your mind. Speak your piece.
Honestly, I was pretty upset with it at first, mostly just because of us losing out on Schwartz potentially. But it's honestly, I've come around, and I think I've grown more excited about it. I guess I did want maybe a younger candidate because, this guy. I mean, I don't know how many more years he's gonna coach, but I don't know. I came around. I think I'm excited. Just the vibes I got from the videos of him in the building and talking to Shador and stuff. I think I don't know. It just feels better. It just feels like something that Stefanski lacked. I don't know that.
Yeah.
The way he talked to Shador, like you never saw Stefanski talk to Shador like that.
I can give you a little insight. I love Todd as your OC. He is a great play caller. And I think he's a great communicator.
Is he?
I think he is. And I think he gets his message across, and he understands what it means to accommodate what your team has in terms of personnel and fit the system around that. And he's constantly critical of stuff. He loves football. Like all he does is football. I think one of my favorite moments of him, it was like he would always rock like his play call sheet and just like with the strap of his pocket, and it was like he was always ready to talk ball all the time. He is on the older side, of course, but I think, and my prediction is that in terms of rushing offense, attack alone, I don't know what the pass game will look like with the Browns, but I think the rushing offense will be top 10, top 12 this coming year. He designs really good run schemes in terms of like his zone threat.
I don't know. I think you're seeing stacked boxes all year, man.
You could, but I don't know. I think the production of that, what he's able to garner, I think he does a really good job. And I think he gives the QB a clear vision of what needs to be done in terms of reading defenses and scheming up, efficient plays. And whether it's Shador going into next year, whether it's Deshaun Watson, whoever your quarterback is, I think you're getting a really good guy. It's unfortunate that you're losing Schwartz because of it, and who he will replace the DC with, because I think it's already done with the Schwartz. I don't think he's coming back. I think that bridge is burned, unfortunately. And it's sad too, because Monkey was probably the only guy willing to keep Schwartz on the staff, because it seemed like every guy who dropped, their or rescinded their appeal to the opening didn't want to bring in, or wanted to bring in, a new DC and not keep Schwartz. So it kind of falls more on the front office at that point. Clearly it was a mishandling of what they did. But I gave it a B- for the hire.
Yeah, I got it at a B. Then we go to the Dolphins with Jeff Hafley. To me, that just seems like the most obvious fired halfway through your second season hire that we have this cycle. I guess there's just not a lot of work with the Dolphins right now, and that quarterback situation is going to get ugly. But what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like the Dolphins, it was obvious that they wanted to get a guy who they felt like could turn their identity around. When we think of the Dolphins teams, they can't play in cold weather, and they're soft for the most part. And I feel like Hafley, his defenses are pretty good for the most part. Even losing Micah, they still had a pretty solid defense in Green Bay. And even before Micah, they had really solid defenses. So I felt like they wanted an identity shift with Hafley. I just don't know how much more he can bring to that team in terms of toughness and high-flying defense and stuff like that. I gave it a C- in terms of that. I feel like he could be fine as a play caller in a staff build. I don't know what's really going on over there right now. It just, like you said, it kind of feels like they don't have much to go with, and then he's scapegoated because of it.
Yeah.
No matter how much change he brings or how much he's ready to run the helm of the Dolphins. So unfortunately, I gave it a C-.
Yeah, I got it at a C- as well. And then we go to the New York Giants with John Harbaugh. It felt like that was the first domino to follow. It seemed like the obvious hire. Before the Todd Monken to the Browns, I had that as an A+ hire for the Giants. Now I definitely got to know what their OC is going to be. But in terms of establishing a culture, well, I guess I want to start off by saying I don't think they should have fired Dable. I think Jackson Dart benefited a lot from Dable. But obviously the coordinator hires are going to be very important in New York. But I think that I think it's an A+ hire. I think they needed a new culture. I think they needed a leader. I think they're a pretty young team that needs someone to look up to and respect. And I think John Harbaugh is definitely that guy for them.
Yeah, I didn't go too harsh on it as a former, not former, but he's our former coach, and as a Ravens fan, I went B-. It's clear that they needed a culture reset. It's clear that they needed a revisioning, and John Harbaugh can envision. He can empower guys, and he can set a vision and what it means to be a football player. And I think guys will buy into his message. I don't disagree with that. But I just feel like he's been a lackluster staff builder for more than 5+ years. I think Mentor already has a better staff than what John Harbaugh's put together in the last 5 or 6 years, or 7. But I don't know. I feel like now with Todd Monken gone, I feel like with their DC in question, he's going to have a lot on his plate, especially with him not calling plays. And I would have gone. I kept it at a B-, or I had it at a B- with assuming Todd Monken was going to be there. So I might even drop it to like a C+, just because I really need to know who he's bringing into that building, in terms of who's running the offense and defense, because he doesn't really have much say he doesn't even do like special teams anymore either. So it's like,
Yeah.
so it's really going to come down to the hires. But I think he's going to be ready to empower those guys, and they're going to be ready to run through a wall. And a division it's not up in the air. It's still kind of the Eagles to win. But I think they could easily get like a wild card spot. I think they could fight for second or third,
I don't know about all
just
that.
depending on how the NFC shakes up and how much success that they can have with these new highs. But I think he's gonna have to land them. I think it's gonna be tougher than what sports pundits and what teams are willing to admit.
This draft's going to be important for them. I mean, you got to see how Malik Neighbors comes back because he's probably not ready for week 1. And if he is, then he probably is not making OTAs. But you definitely need another receiver because Wandale probably walks. But all things considered, it's just a solid roster that looks like in a few years it can be
defense is really good, like held down by Dexter Lawrence
sure.
too. So that's something to keep in mind. But did we do the Titans yet?
No, but next would be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
All things considered, I mean, I guess it's easy to say, like, compared to the last coaching staff, this is so much better. So it's like a day and night. But all things considered, I think it's a C higher. I think it's just average. I mean, obviously things are better. I think that the last coaching staff was an F minus, flunk out of school, get expelled, don't belong in any school ever, and your transcripts are burned in a horrible fire, and you should be banished from the league because I don't know what we were doing, but things are definitely better. But all things considered, yeah, Mike McCarthy was jobless last year for a reason. I mean, it is what it is, but I'm looking forward to next season.
Yeah, no, I mean we're pretty much on the same page with all these grades. I got it at a C minus. And I'm kind of staying on the fact that the Steelers are truly believing that this roster can compete. They're trying to compete as much as they can, and they believe that Mike McCarthy can get the best out of that. I just think they went with familiarity. I think they went the inverse of what he does on the other side of the ball, and he's white.
But at least he actually calls plays.
Yeah,
Mike
that's true.
Tomlin just goes into each meeting, gives everybody a pep talk, gets to know their family, and is a nice guy to be around. But schematically, man, it looked like we were playing a different sport. I challenge any of you to watch a Steelers game's highlights from last season and then go watch the Niners or go watch a Rams game. It's like a different sport. But I guess on to Tennessee, I think this is the best hire of the cycle. I got it as an A++, and then you get Dable as an OC. I think Cam Ward is going to take a massive year 2 leap, and he was already good last year. I think that's the best situation you can have for the Titans. I think we'll have a long leash. I don't think next year's the year that you win 8 or 9 games, but I think you definitely see improvements, and I think the games get closer. And then I think that in years to come, hopefully you draft well. I think that Saleh and Dable, if they stick together, will be a really dynamic duo, especially in a relatively weak division.
So I was really high on Saleh. I agree with you. I was really high on Saleh, but I gave the grade only a B minus. But that was before Dable got hired. I think it jumps to A immediately when you pair Dable with Cam Ward in that offense, and then it's like almost like this is probably in terms of like teams that are in the situation. This is probably like the best pairing of 2 coordinators together because Saleh runs the defense perfectly. Dable runs really good offense, especially with young quarterbacks. I think he gets the best out of young quarterbacks, probably the most out of any coordinator has shown over their previous tenures, wherever it is. So I got it at an A now. I just feel like he's able to really hone in on what it means to play football and what he's able to command out of defense, what he's able to get out of guys. And his schemes are good too. And the same thing with Dable. I think what he's able to get out of his quarterbacks and what it means to play clean football, what it means to play efficient football. You've seen it with Josh Allen, you've seen it with Jackson Dart, and now we're going to get to see it with Cam Ward, who I think in terms of like those 3 coming out as raw prospects, he's definitely better than Dart, and I think he's comparable to Josh Allen, maybe slightly worse in terms of raw instincts and raw intangibles. So I'm excited for that Titans team and an AFC South that is interesting to say the least in terms of what the Jags might look like next year. I don't see them really improving upon this season.
Yeah.
I think they get a natural regression. Not means that they'll be bad, but they'll definitely have a natural regression, especially how they finished out the year. I think with the Texans, we don't know what Coolidge Bernard. Remember, it's Coolidge Bernard. We don't know what he looks like going into his 4th year with that team. And then so it's definitely not for grabs, but they have an exciting opportunity in Tennessee. And I think Saleh and Dable are ready to take care of that. But
The
yeah.
Cardinals and the Raiders are the only other openings.
Yeah.
The Raiders is probably the more favorable of the two in terms
I think
of.
Kubiak. I predicted Kubiak was going there before. I think it's all but ready
It seems
now.
like all but pretty much a done deal at this point, barring I guess, a horrible interview, but I'm pretty sure he already interviewed.
He already interviewed, and they get the second interview starting Monday.
But yeah, I think it's his job to lose.
Yeah.
I think that's a good fit. I mean, I think Fernando is so coachable, and I guess this is under the assumption the Raiders actually do take Fernando.
They have to.
Which
They
I
have
wouldn't
to.
put anything past the Raiders, but
They have to.
assuming Fernando's their quarterback, which he should be, I think that's a great fit. And I think you have a young, exciting offense with a pretty bad O-line, so hopefully you can keep Fernando upright. I guess the only question there would be, is Fernando your day one starter, or you give Geno 5 weeks, or is Geno even on the team next year?
I mean, they'll probably move on for Geno. I just don't see you drafting a quarterback number one, 101 to sit, or
Throwing him into the fire behind that O-line is definitely a choice, but
it's the learning curve that I think Clint Kubiak would accommodate and
it's hard to
alleviate.
learn in the infirmary. It's hard to learn on the trainer's table, man.
That's fair.
But then you got the Cardinals. I said on our last pod that that's probably the worst opening left, and it seems like other head coaching candidates are thinking the same. I don't even know who's looking for that job anymore.
I'm literally scratching my head, and not even figuratively, just because it's not desirable at all.
There's really not. I mean, you got Michael Wilson, and you got
Like, it's so undesirable that we thought a guy like Arthur Smith was willing to take that job, and he literally went to college because he was like,
said, "I'm outta here,
He
man."
said, "F that." So, whoever takes the job is a bold man. It's probably a guy that doesn't have a chance to be a head coaching
Yeah.
candidate in any other cycle, really.
And
So-
I guess I said Jeff Hafley's the most obvious, fired halfway through your second season hire, but I guess I would shift that to whoever the Cardinals hire. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Do we
just-
even have a name before we move on? Like,
I honestly have no idea.
my name before was either Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy's the only guy that doesn't have a chance to go back to Kansas now that Airbnb's back. So it seems like, I don't even know. I can't even say Matt Nagy's job to lose because I don't even know if he's willing to take it. But Matt Nagy's my official hire. I would give that a C. That's all I got, honestly.
I don't even know who you could get at this point.
Yeah. We'll move on. We'll recap the championship weekend. We had 2 games, obviously. We have our now in the Super Bowl Patriots that visited the Denver Broncos in Denver. And then we have our now Super Bowl contending team, the Seahawks, who got visited by the Los Angeles Rams. We'll start with the first game of the weekend. It was New England going into Broncos. I'll let Myles lead.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, if you're Denver, that you had the perfect game script. You hit on a big play early. You played exactly how you needed to win the game. Jarrett Stidham just had a fumble for 6 pretty much, or I don't know if it was a fumble. And then you go for it on 4th and 1. I thought that was malpractice, putting your quarterback on a boot in that high leverage moment. I think you're up 7-0, you take the 10-point lead. Like, especially in a game like that when you're trusting your defense, points are at a premium. And I don't know if how much they knew about the weather and how it would affect the second half of the game, but I thought that was malpractice, kicking or going for it on 4th down there, and obviously you don't get it. Drake May threw for 86 yards and you lost the game. The second half, it's really hard to say anything of note there. That was not really a football game. It was nasty stuff we were watching, but the Patriots did what they had to do to win the game. Their defense made a play when they needed it. Jarrett Stidham played like a backup quarterback who hasn't thrown a football in 3 years, and they didn't get the job done. I saw Sean Payton after the game saying some stuff about Bo Nix and like how he had like he was predisposed to ankle injuries or something, and Bo Nix was like, I don't think he should be talking about my surgery history. So that was interesting, but all in all, there's not too much to say about the game. I mean, Jarrett Stidham threw it away, and that's about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's, like you said, there's not really much to speak about. I didn't even catch the first half.
Didn't miss much.
Yeah, and then I watched the second half. I will say that I felt like Sean Payton overestimated what his offense was capable of doing. He obviously, if he wanted to go for the 4th and 1, he felt like that they were in a position to put points on the board and do it in a high fashion. But it just didn't work out. I would put this on coaching more than less. You knew what you had going into this game. You knew what you needed to be done. You knew that any time that you had the chance to get points, you needed to take them. And they didn't do that. And it ended up being the downfall for them. I think that Drake May, even though it obviously that second half really debilitated what offenses could do, I think he made some key plays overall, and he didn't turn the ball over, which is important to do in
really
those type
good
of
with
games.
his legs.
Yeah, and he was great with his legs. I'm not moved by him, especially in this playoff run, but when you're making plays when they need to be made, that's all you can ask out of your second year quarterback, especially in this first playoff run.
I'm moved by Drake May, man. I'm about to put him in some nasty conversations this offseason.
Yeah, but in terms of what this playoff run, I think he's getting carried by that defense. I really underestimated what the Patriots defense was able to do because you got to, even though they played pretty bad offenses,
their interior defense,
they're dominating these games. Like when you look at the stats, when you look at the efficiency, when you look at the yards per play, they're up there with some of the best defenses in recent playoff memory.
I guess I'll say one of my favorite plays from the entire season is that scramble from Drake May before half. Just being so headsy at such a young age to read the clock and realize obviously there's a lane to get out of bounds, but there's about 3 seconds left and you have a timeout. So to give yourself up in bounds and get the timeout off, even though you missed the field goal, just putting your team in a position to win like that. A lot of veteran quarterbacks don't make that play and don't have that, situational awareness.
Yeah, and then I think it was confirmed that he called his own number on that play action to seal the game. That's ballsy, and it worked. And it was a 1-on-1 after the naked, and he won. You can't get that out of many guys in this league. So in terms of who he is as a quarterback, especially going to be entering year 3, whether he wins the Super Bowl or not, he's definitely one of the guys that you want being on your team moving forward over the next couple of years. In terms of just like eliteness of elite, I just don't. I don't think. It. Yeah, I can see it for sure, but I'm saying right now I don't see him in the threshold yet. I think he's not.
I see it.
I don't know. This playoffs has kind of confirmed to me that it does take a team. It takes a village, and I think the village is helping him out. It's reminiscent of the Bengals in 2021. I think their quarterback is playing well. I think they're doing enough.
I think the polar opposite. I think their defense is the reason they're here. I think Drake May is...
I think that's my point. I think the Bengals defense, specifically in the 2021 run, was doing damage. Like, they were holding teams. They were not dominant to this Patriots.
I guess that was the McPherson masterclass.
And especially McPherson was nailing kicks, and he was hitting game winners, and he was putting points on the board when they needed. I think people are more reminiscent of the icy Joe Burrow when it was a team effort, but I think it was led by these defenses. That's why I say that they're similar. They're not the exact same, but they're definitely similar. But I am excited for the Super Bowl matchup. But we can move on to the better game of the championship weekend. Wow,
it's been fireworks every time they've played, man.
Barn burner.
If you're looking for a flow state, or if you're looking for just coaching masterclass on both ends, I mean, the way Sean McVay cooked up that game script, the way Clint Kubiak cooked up that game script, man, like that JSN play out of the backfield, like that. I don't think it was like a scissors concept. It was just unbelievable to even put him on that deep of a corner route, just bust the coverage like manufactured. It was just excellence on both ends. There's not much you can do. And in a game like that where it's that close, it's going to come down to who makes the most mistakes. Obviously, you have the muffed kick. Seattle had a bad mistake. I forget what it was. Oh, it was the Tariq Woolen, taunting.
The taunting into the touchdown immediately afterwards.
Yeah, on his head.
Immediately afterwards. Oh, my God.
But Puka Nacua is a bad dude, man. I mean, you can definitely argue he's the best receiver in the league when you consider.
I think it's 1A right now. In terms of this season alone, it's 1A. You can't go wrong with either guy.
Well, I'm not counting out.
I'm saying this
Jettas,
season. This season, it was 1A.
Yeah,
they're both elite.
Puka's definitely had his struggles against just press man coverage, but in terms of run blocking, in terms of getting schemed open, I think after the catch, he's the best in the league.
Yeah,
he's an absolute animal. But I guess back to the game, Nick Emanwari, wow, like. He literally changes the entire complexion of a game. He lines up everywhere. He's a dog. He's on the sideline telling Tariq Woolen, can you lock in? Like, stop getting penalties, man. Like, that's a leader as a rookie. They got a good one. But the Seahawks defense, played up to par. I think that Stafford did what he did and made incredible throws. You got the fourth down they go for and they don't get. But at that point, I don't really like the discourse of kick the field goal, go down 1, and trust your defense to get a stop. They haven't gotten a stop all game. And then you're gonna, you go down 8 in that instance. Like, I don't really know. I don't think that really benefits you in any way. Like, you got down the field, you're in a position where you got a good play call, you feel, and it just doesn't connect.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I'd say the QB play in this game was
cinema.
It was the best of any slate that we've had in the playoffs in terms of QB play. I thought Stafford played amazing, and it's hard to say, but Darnold played better.
Darnold played the game of his life.
It was insane, the juggernauts that we had at QB play there. It was band for band almost on every play. And I felt like going into the game, I expected McDonald to out-scheme McVay, but it was the inverse. McVay had an answer for McDonald's defense.
He's a wizard, man.
And he lights out. But I think what won them the game is that the counter punches that McDonald was able to throw on 3rd and 4th downs in the key plays, he outdid it on McVay. I think the Rams offense ended up going like 1 for 9 on third down, and it didn't convert a fourth down. That's what won them that game. Obviously, the muff punt changed the trajectory of that game, but you got to have it on the key plays. You got to have it on the money downs, and I thought McDonald was able to do the best of that. The high leverage situational calling is what wins you games. Having great defense was wins you games in championships, and that's what the Seahawks had, married with a really good offensive game. I want to talk about that fourth down play that the Rams had. The showing 8 at the line and then dropping off your DNs into coverage to match the showing of the blitz, but then to match the hot routes to take away your reads, I think was schemed up perfectly. If we talk about the play and like were to watch it, DeMarcus Lawrence doubled help on the release out of Kyron Williams to take that away because that was Stafford's read, and then Stafford didn't know what to do at that point, so he had to just go into the back of the end zone. That's master making 101, and I think that's what helps teams get to that next level. And I think that's what a lot of teams are missing in this league. So shout out to the Seahawks.
Yeah, that definitely took some guts. I mean, to fool a veteran like Stafford, you're gonna have to get a little unorthodox, and they definitely did that this game. Shout out to the Seahawks, man. I think they're going all the way. I think Sam Darnold's gonna be Super Bowl champion.
I've been saying it since the start of the playoffs. I had all the faith. I love K9 as a workhorse back.
We didn't even talk about K9, man.
Charbonnet.
Kenneth Walker just made some generational wealth.
Charbonnet, get off the field right now. We don't need you no more, bro. We got K9. I thought he was great. He was very efficient in the run game. And dare I say, playoff riser. Because what he was able to do out the backfield, not even just the run game, but in the passing game too, making guys miss. Very underrated in my eyes. I didn't realize. I knew he was good, but I didn't realize he was that good. So shout out K9. And then I've said it before many times. JSN runs routes like a 7-on-7. He just, the way that he moves gracefully like a gazelle, it feels like he doesn't get touched even when they're in press. It feels like he gets separation like none other. And it's just beautiful to watch him run routes.
Yeah, I think Brady made a great point saying that JSN's pad level never changes. Like, he's so, like, it's so hard to read him. And back to Kenneth Walker, man. People forget, man. He got Mel Tucker paid. Like, he's the reason Mel Tucker got a job. Like,
yeah.
Kenneth Walker has been a dog. He's on my fantasy football dynasty team.
Tiny bias by him, by the way.
I've been a Kenneth Walker,
but he's super underrated. I will say I didn't realize how much love I could have for a non-Raven until I started watching Kenneth Walker be a workhorse at the running back position. So shout out K9.
But I guess we can wrap it up with our Super Bowl picks. I mean,
early predictions. I had Seahawks since the first round. I had them going all the way.
They're -5. I think that's
I got them
pretty
covering.
free.
I got Darnold MVP. I got Imawari 17,000 tackles. I got K9 14 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest concern with the Seahawks all season was, is Sam Darnold going to step up in the big games? And he's done that and then some. I feel like you kind of trust that offense now, and you kind of trust Sam Darnold at this point. I just feel like the Patriots' kind of game script that they need to win is going to be, you muddy up the game with your interior pass rush, you stop the run, of course, and it probably isn't a high-scoring game if you're the Patriots to win, but I think Seattle's got answers for everything, so.
I actually predicted to be another barn burner, honestly.
I don't think the Patriots can keep up with what the Rams did.
I think it's a multi-score game, but I think it's going to be high scoring, to say the least. I really did underestimate that Patriots defense, and I think they can give a little bit more fits than people are expecting them to. But I think the Seahawks defense is just going to outmatch the Patriots offense to the point where they can start building a little lead and then hold on to it. But I do expect a good Super Bowl. I think it's going to be one of the better Super Bowls we see. I think it's definitely going to be better than last year. I don't think it's going to be another
won't
blowout.
take much.
I don't think it's going to be another blowout. I think it's going to be a lot closer, but we can talk about it a little bit more later. But I think we both got Seahawks winning. All right. Well, did we cover everything?
Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this monologue. Thank you for listening to us speak a little bit more ball. Ravens Steelers are kind of heating up. Free agency starts soon. Did you see the cap?
Increase again.
18 million. I think it's like anywhere between 15 and 18 million dollar increase.
My goodness,
that's going to save a lot of teams going into free agency.
We got the cap increase by an Alec Pierce, man. What do you know?
Yeah,
what do you got?
I'm saying the Ravens might afford a Linderbaugh extension now, so that's exciting. But we can talk a little bit more about that later. But we got more stuff. Thank you for tuning in. And
episode 3.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.